welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's Wednesday, June 12th. You're watching News 2 on via Channel 4 and 504. I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown. Topping our stories tonight. Senators were concerned about the $16 million cut from the previous year's budget, which included the elimination of some job vacancies, which was shared during a Bryan administration budget overview hearing held on Tuesday. News 2 has that story.
Senators had more questions than answers after Tuesday's budget overview hearing, where Jennifer O'Neill, Office of Management and Budget Director Designee, presented the first budget of the Brian Roach administration, which was about $16 million less than last year's. The 2019 general budget, former Governor Kenneth Mapp's final budget, was roughly $834 million. This year's budget is about $818 million, about a 30% cut in expenditures for fiscal year 2020. Ms. O'Neill emphasized the reduction as a change of course and a step in the right direction. She said the reduction was due mostly to the elimination of government job vacancies.
This budget signals a turning point where we were able to plan for current service levels while making additional strategic investments with ongoing and one-time only resources. Yet, even without the pressure of budget reductions, the territory must be fiscally prudent about what we do and how we do it, ensuring that we reflect our community's values and can meet the continuing challenges we face. Years of budget reductions have left many programs operating at bare bones levels, and we are feeling the pressure to enhance and expand selected services in areas of community concern. On the expenditure side of the budget, newly negotiated salary increases have caused the overall budget to increase, even while attempting to control the territory's expenditure growth. We must, however, be cognizant that the future is not without challenges. There are several revenue risks and unresolved policy decisions that will likely come to fruition shortly after adopting this budget. Some could require very difficult deliberations and decisions.
The fiscal year 2020 budget totals $1.27 billion, roughly $540 million less than last year's fiscal year $1.81 billion. Of that amount, roughly $817 million comes from the general fund, about $216 million comes from federal funds, and $87.9 million from other appropriated funds. Lawmakers, however, were worried about where the fat was being cut in the significantly reduced budget. While a large drop in federal funds account for $510 million in the $540 million decline in the overall budget, the central government still reflects a roughly $16 million reduction in spite of the salary increases.
Between shrinking our government, particularly personnel, and the GRS, the issues that we have with GRS, because right now we're at a 1-for-1 ratio, right? So what is the government doing, the central government doing to address this 1-for-1 ratio issue? Because we can't have salary increases and then begin to shrink positions, because then we're not growing our government. And if we're not going to grow our government, then we're going to have an issue, a compounded issue rather, because that's not the only issue with the government employees retirement system.
The 2020 budget also includes $75 million of tax refunds for approximately 6,000 taxpayers who filed returns in the tax year 2016 and are not under audit. For News 2, this is James Gardner.
Turning our attention to crime, the VIPD is investigating a fatal shooting in Frederiksted. Around 11 in the morning on Tuesday, 911 got a call of a man down in Concordia Bay in Frederiksted. Police found an unresponsive black man on the floor inside a home. The victim was identified by next of kin as Link Baltimore Jr., 20 years old. He was shot multiple times. Baltimore is one of the 3 persons arrested in a 2017 rape and carjacking case in the East End. That happened in May of 2017 when 2 driving on the Eastern Road on Christiansted reported being stopped by a vehicle that kept hitting their car from behind. Their car was taken and one of the women was taken into another location and raped. Baltimore and the other 2 suspects in that carjacking and rape case were also in a home robbery invasion and robbery case in Annalee, Frederiksted that same month. The Tuesday Frederiksted shooting is actively being investigated by the Criminal Investigation Bureau and Major Crime Unit. You are urged to call the number on your screen, Crime Stoppers VI, at 1-800-222-TIPS or 911. Finally, 19-year-old Abijah Isaac, who has been on the run from police since December of last year, has been arrested. Isaac was wanted for questioning regarding a robbery in December, but it was a traffic violation that ultimately led to a warrant for his arrest. On May 19th of this year, officers on patrol on the Contentment Road near the Christiansted bypass saw a gray SUV overtake two vehicles in an unsafe area. When a traffic stop was conducted, one of the three occupants, an unknown black male, fled the scene, dropping a gun in the process. The individual managed to flee, but detectives conducted a follow-up investigation and were able to secure and arrest a warrant for Isaac, signed by a Superior Court judge. On Tuesday, June 11th, Isaac was found and served with the warrant for his arrest for unauthorized possession of a firearm, possession or sale of ammunition, and possession of a controlled substance. Isaac could not post his $75,000 bail, so he was remanded to Golden Grove, pending his advice of rights. Meanwhile, police arrested a Venezuelan woman on domestic violence charges. On Saturday, June 8th, a Hispanic male reported that a former female acquaintance, Rosia Cortez Medina, came to his friend's house where he was staying and started to attack him. According to the police report, Medina punched and scratched the victim and threw stones at him, breaking a window in the process. Medina was later apprehended and placed under arrest. She was charged with simple assault and battery domestic violence and disturbance of the peace domestic violence. No bail was set as per domestic violence law. It's later turned out that both the victim and suspect in this matter are citizens of Venezuela and are illegal immigrants in the U.S. Immigration was notified of the case. This case has also remained under investigation by the Virgin Islands Police Department. Coming up next, what you can expect from the much-anticipated Buju Banton concert, Long Walk to Freedom in Tortola this weekend. Plus, Virgin Islands high schoolers go all out for prom season. We have all that and more when we come back. Welcome back. Roads lead to Tortola this weekend, where global dancehall and reggae legend Buju Banton is holding his 5th show since he was released from prison. It's a much-anticipated event for Buju fans who will be flying and sailing into the BVI from near and far to take part in the historic concert. A Virgin Islands company, Westline Productions, is heavily involved in bringing the show to Tortola, the closest that they can get it to USVI. Their history with Buju goes back all the way to the 90s, when the superstar was not quite so famous. A couple of members of the production team, including our very own Leslie Commission, spoke about the concert goers can expect. Here's more.
This will be our 5th show with Buju. We did him in the early 90s. We actually did him when he didn't have locks, okay? And then he was not as popular, and then we did him a second time when we did the Till Shiloh show. And when that album was huge. It was a huge, huge show. And we decided to do him again because of our history with him. We wish we could have done him on St. Thomas, but as you know, the legal issues, so the closest that we could have brought him was the British Virgin Islands. Our lineup was second only to Jamaica when he first came out. Our lineup is extraordinary. So anybody who won't come to this show gonna get a full show, because everybody that we have on the show could be a headliner and in their own show.
You have reggae legends Coco T Capleton, you have the Virgin Islands' own Pressure, you got the newest sensation out of Jamaica, a young lady by the name of Coffee that is capturing the reggae world by storm. You got Sister Joyce, Revelation the Royal, Shine Eye. It's a really stacked lineup. Like Tony said, any of these individuals could certainly headline their own show, Conscious Reggae, with a positive message, good feelings, good vibes. It's going to be a great time for everybody to come out and enjoy. The 65 tickets are sold out. It's $75. VIP completely sold out. Been sold out for a while now. You can get to the BVI via Native Sun Ferries. You can go to their website, nativesunferry.com. You can go to aquaticrentalsvi.com. Of course, all the other ferry companies will be running their regular schedules as well. There's a ferry coming from St. Croix. Aquatic Rentals is taking care of that. And then, of course, people are going to be going up on their own private boat. So if you know somebody with a boat, hitch a ride, because all boats are heading towards the BVI.
Over the weekend, Governor Albert Bryan welcomed executives from his fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, one of the oldest African-American Greek-lettered college fraternities in the nation. Thomas Battles, the 33rd Grand Pole Mark of the international organization, led a delegation of 6 to visit St. Croix and St. Thomas. Their goal? To explore the expansion of the local alumni chapter, re-establishing undergraduate chapters in the territory, and supporting local initiatives. The 108-year-old fraternity has over 720 undergraduate and alumni chapters in the United States, as well as international chapters. Among their members are Colin Patrick and Tavis Smiley. We caught up with Mr. Battles and Governor Bryan over the weekend. Here's more.
I think it's very important, and certainly in being over here with my brother and all of the brothers over here in St. Croix, and that's one of the reasons why we're here, to send a message to our brothers over here. We have a chapter over here in St. Croix and in St. Thomas, to send a message, to bring the leadership over here. We have the Grand Pomar, the executive director, and the regional president to come over here and to say to the brothers that we care, and to see whatever we can do to support them as the country gets back on its feet from a hurricane, and to send a message to the leadership over here that we'll do all we can to support them in all of their endeavors.
2 years ago, I mean, it's always been my dream to actually have the Grand Pole Mark visit to the Virgin Islands. But what you also have to understand is that we have 6 members of Kappa Alpha Psi in Congress. Even in Stacey's 7, sorry. Even in Stacey's office, Delegate Plaskett's office, I have a brother there. The networking and the connections, the doors that are able to be opened because we have that network is very important.
It's a rite of passage for many juniors and seniors in high school to get a chance to dress up and enjoy a dance with their friends. But these days, prom is celebrated as an extravaganza of fashion and theatrics. Lots of time and resources go into preparing for the grand day, which includes private photo session, professional makeup, and designer dresses. We got a first-hand look from one local prom goer. They are showing up in grand style and performances. Students from the St. Croix Central High School were applauded by hundreds of residents. They all came out to see students catwalk their costume designer dresses and professional makeup, as well as enjoy the theatrical grand entrances for the 2019 prom season. Prom, both nationally and locally, has become a theatrical exhibition and rite of passage. One prom participant spoke about her preparation for the day and why prom is so important to her.
For me, prom is a great experience to have, especially since we don't have a lot of school events. Well, even from the dress, it took me months to find. Gotta find the right one. Also finding pictures of what nails would match perfectly with your dress and how everything should come together so you can look great on that day. When I did my makeup, I made sure that I had my own picture so it could coordinate with my dress, and it took probably about like 45 minutes to an hour. This experience is honestly really amazing. You know, you really feel like you're special, and you know, you're kind of like a model basically, like, because you're taking pictures and making sure that you really capture this day.
The experience is different in that it's a much bigger production than when I went to prom. We drove ourselves, We got out and we went in, and that was it. So I'm excited to experience the whole entrance. I went to prom with my best friend just as she is, so there's some similarities as well.
And this is like the big blowout for us, especially since it's a graduation celebration for us, since we just found out that we will be graduating, and it's just a time to celebrate for all of us, to come together and see all of us dress up and see everybody nice.
Stick around. Your News 2 Accuweather Forecast is coming up next.
Good evening. Not lots to talk about in terms of precipitation for tonight. In fact, today and into tonight is most likely for the next several days to be the driest. We will start to notice our trade winds being a bit more breezy as we move into tomorrow. As we take you closer into the current satellite, not a lot of moisture in our area. That sits back to our west, out to the Bahamas through Cuba, and even there it's not extremely heavy. So if you're traveling west, tapped into some better moisture, but here at home for the next several days, we'll be dodging any deep plumes of moisture. There'll be a tropical wave sitting to our south as we head into the weekend, and due to that wave pressing through, we could see an uptick in some shower activity. You're looking at a low of 79, partly cloudy tonight, a few showers, but notice tomorrow is pretty breezy, a high of 89, still holding on to some drier conditions in St. John. Also looking at some dry air in St. Thomas, partly sunny skies, and a breeze that will also be noticeable into St. Croix for your Thursday with a high of 88. So if you do see a shower, it's not going to be long-lived. We do really anticipate tonight as well as tomorrow to hold on to a dry forecast. Waves 3 to 5 feet on the Atlantic side, winds out of the east 15 to 20 knots, and we're also seeing your trades being pretty much the same on the Caribbean side. Winds out of the east 15 to 20, and waves running 3 to 5 feet. No cautions at this time, but you always want to be a bit careful when you're headed to the waters. Now, for your next several days here, temperatures remaining in the upper 80s. As we head past Thursday, we start to notice that shower potential picking up all the way into the early week. Once again, Friday, Saturday, there'll be a wave well to the south and to the windwards. Even though we're not super close to that, that'll pull back some moisture on top of our trade winds, and that will allow for some spotty activity to be a bit more present into the end of the weekend and early week.
Thank you for that. Stick around. Randall's news and comments are coming up next, plus News 2 Sports with Gary Anthony. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 2. This is Alex Randall with News and Comment. You can almost hear the tourists saying, cancel the tour. Do not go to the beach. Commissioner of Tourism Joe Basholta says that stuff is old-fashioned. He was at the Caribbean Hotel and Resort Investment Summit in Miami. He says people are not coming here for the beaches and the shopping. They want an authentic experience. They want our food, our music, our arts, and most importantly, our people. The commissioner says tourism people want to go to a local restaurant and eat what local folks eat. He says cruise ship passengers are moving away from beaches and shopping for jewelry. They want a real experience where you can sit with people and be real. Now, I'm not sure we know how to do this. We can't close the beaches, but we might think about how to put more of our local culture where visitors can find it. The whole idea of conjuring a real experience kind of gives me a headache. Groucho Marx once said, the key to success is sincerity. If you can fake that, you got it made. Now, you have all heard this before. The mean landlord demands the rent, threatens to throw the whole family out on the street if they can't pay the rent. Only here, it's our government that can't pay the rent. The owners of the Bildum Emporium building behind Schneider Hospital say the Lieutenant Governor's office has been consistently late with the rent. Get this, for 12 years. Now, if I'm late 1 month paying my rent, the landlord yells at me. Lieutenant Governor's been late for 12 years, and the building owners now say they can't tolerate this dilatory and capricious action by our government. Pay up or get out. This is your 12-year notice. Now, I can't decide whether this story is sad and pathetic or if it's really funny. How many times have you heard someone tell you not to get suckered into an email scam? Don't send money to anybody you do not know. There is no king in Nigeria sending you $10 million. But WAPA got suckered. They got a bogus invoice for $2.18 million from what they thought was a legitimate vendor. And they sent the money. And then they figured out they'd been scammed. Joke's on you, WAPA. No, wait, oops. The joke's on us. All of we ratepayers are paying for the phony bill for $2 million. So it's pretty funny, except for how sad and pathetic it is. Meanwhile, Vital wants to be paid. Pay up or lights out. Remember, the conversion of propane was not supposed to carry any upfront costs. Vital was supposed to build the propane storage facility for $87 million, and that suddenly ballooned to $150 million. Now they want to be paid. And the fuel bills due at the same time. We are on the hook to pay them $20 million by the end of June. So WAPA asked the PSC for a rate increase. But wait a minute. Vital is being investigated by the FBI for bribery and corruption. The top executives at Vital are being accused of bribery, extortion, money laundering, and scamming. Now, do you think, is it possible that Vital might have sent that bogus bill to WAPA? Maybe the jump in the cost of the propane project is just a scam? Maybe Vital is scamming our utility? I mean, if you're going to be crooks, you might as well be crooks for big dollars instead of peanuts. Finally, the WICO board members get $1,500 per meeting. Stop and think about that. That is pretty good pay. Meetings run a couple of hours. There's some documents to read in advance, and then $1,500 for showing up and voting yes or no on a bunch of stuff that's mostly obvious. Kind of sounds like my faculty meetings, except I don't get $1,500. Some other government boards pay their board members like $75 for meetings. Some board members work for free. And we are spending $14,000 per meeting of WICO. I ask you, are you getting your money's worth? Thanks for watching. This is Alex Randall with News and Comment. Now back to Stephanie.
Thanks for that, Alex. Interesting and thought-provoking as usual. Now let's see what Gary has for us in sports. Gary?
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News2 Sports. Here's to the St. Croix Track Club Mustangs. They dominated the Carl Plaskett VI National Track and Field Championship held on St. Thomas this past weekend. The Mustangs brought home a whopping 28 medals, 25 gold, 2 silver, and 3 bronze. Michelle Smith led the way with 5 gold, and Akira Joseph was close behind with 4 gold medals. I caught up with the multi-medal winning Mustangs earlier this week.
Which of those 5 medals are you most proud of?
The long jump. I was proud of it because I didn't get to practice in like 2 years, so it was pretty awesome.
I did 4 events. I did the 60-meter dash, the 800, the high jump, and the long jump. For the 60-meter dash, I came in first. For the 800, I came in first. For the high jump, I came in first. And for the long jump, I came in first.
I run the 100 and the 200 and the 400.
And how did you do?
Good.
How good?
Very good.
My experience at the track meet, it was great. Going out there, you know, after just coming back from NCAA regionals and not really practicing much, only for a week, just as I came back. And then going and getting a nice PR in the 400 hurdles, you know, I was surprised actually, to be honest.
Well, you know, as the coach of St. Croix Track Club, I just want to encourage all the people out there that track and field is a wonderful sport, and we need more adults, more coaches, more individuals taking it seriously and looking out for the children, because when we look at the future, we want to be able to represent the Virgin Islands well abroad.
That's it for sports. Stephanie, back to you.
Thank you for that. And that's it for our show tonight. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube and on via channel 4 and 504, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. Follow us on social media, tag us on any stories you want to see on the news, or send a message on Messenger. You can also email us at news2director@tv2.vi. Thanks again for joining us on News 2. I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown. We'll see you next time.